Welcome. Perfect. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Deschutes County, welcome to the Forum for Candidates for the Deschutes County Commissioners. I'm Mike Fisher. Thank you to the candidates who are participating. We appreciate the gravity of running for office. In 2022, voters passed an initiative to make the county commissioners nonpartisan. Voters also approved increasing the number of commissioners from 3 to 5. Voters will vote for one candidate in each position. The top 2 voters in the election will advance to the general election in November. If one candidate receives more than 50% of the vote, they automatically win and forego the November election. Now, the responsibilities of the county commissioners include oversee and approve the county budget, currently around $670 million. Public Health Authority, Mental Behavioral Health Authority, land use planning outside of the city-urban growth boundaries, community justice, oversee the district attorney and sheriff's office, fire prevention and preparedness. Now the candidates. For position 1 for a 4-year term, Jamie Collins, Tony DeBone, and Brooke West. For position 3, also for a 4-year term, Charles W. Baer, G.W. Campbell, Lauren Connolly, Samuel Facey, Amanda Page, and Amy Sabadini. Candidates will have 1 minute for opening remarks and 1 minute to answer each question. I will try and get through as many questions as I can in the short time that we have together. Questions have been submitted by you, the public, and screened by the League of Women Voters. Each candidate will have then 2 minutes for closing remarks. We ask that you please hold your applause and refrain from comments during the forum. And also, in the contemporary world, please silence your cell phones. For opening statements, we randomly selected the order. The order of who answers each question will be rotated. We will begin with the candidates' opening statements. You will each have 1 minute maximum for your opening statements. And we will start with Jamie Collins.
Good evening. You have all chosen to make a life here in Deschutes County for the mountains, the rivers, the schools, and for the conversations that you have with your neighbors who look out for each other. My wife Meredith and I chose to raise our son Jack here for many of the same reasons. We are Oregon's fastest growing county and now its wealthiest, and that brings extraordinary opportunity and extraordinary challenges. I will just be straight. It should not be this hard to live here. The nurses, teachers, firefighters, small business owners who make this county work can barely afford to stay. Insurance premiums are climbing with wildfire risk, and our water, ground and surface, is overallocated. Families are sitting on contaminated water in South County. None of this is new, and we deserve leadership with a plan. That is why I am running. I am Jamie Collins, a Coast Guard veteran, climate scientist, disaster responder, and I'd be honored to earn your support.
Thank you, Jamie. Now the opening remarks for Tony DeBone.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm Tony DeBone, current Deschutes County Commissioner in position 1. I've been a commissioner for a few terms now, and I'm honored to be serving the people here. I do live in southern Deschutes County, south of Sun River. My wife, Kathy, and I, we've lived there for many years now. We've been married for about 32 years. I was born in the suburb of Detroit, Michigan, made my way across the country, met Kathy, we moved here. I have a degree in electronic technology, a little bit of software development over the years. I worked at a biotech research company. We moved here and really got involved with the community. I'm absolutely honored to be serving. We've done a lot of things to make this place better and really enjoy serving the people of Deschutes County. We're going to get into a lot of interesting topics tonight, and I'm an experienced commissioner, and I'm making some hard choices here, and I know how to keep this county going right down the middle of the road here. So with that, thank you very much, and we'll go to the next one. Yep.
Opening remarks, Charles W. Baer.
Uh, Commission, so please vote for me. Um, I'd like to say that, I think it's time, for ideas. Deschutes County, now living in Deschutes County for 20 years, and I think it's time for new ideas. I think we need to enter the future, and and that's why I think great presence online, and that's why I think that we should really move in action uh, in Deschutes County and for Oregon state government. And if I'm elected, I'll go ahead and do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Opening remarks, G.W. Campbell.
My name is G.W. Campbell. I've lived in Bend, Oregon for 52 years, lived in 4 different places. I've been on a water board for 10 years where I know a lot about water and land use issues. And I hope to do common sense things and keep a cowboy code in there, integrity, caring for ladies, caring for children, caring for the community and the family. I will do common sense things. That's my motto.
Thank you. Opening remarks, Lauren Connolly.
Good evening. My name is Lauren Connolly. I've lived here for 15 years. In that time, I've been able to see this county, first as a mother staying home with my children, then as a business owner, as an advocate for our public lands, as someone working in our community among our schools and with our children, working with FAA programs, Lego robotics, working with veterans, suicide prevention, death doula. Now I work at a public defense office. I've continued to serve this county from lots of different directions. I come from a background of service. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. My entire career started with servant leadership. And that's something that is foundational in how I interact and how I collaborate with others. I was a logistics officer, so that's something I also bring. I'm going to look at chaos and I'm going to make order of it. And that's what we need in Deschutes County right now.
Thank you. Opening remarks, Samuel Facey.
Hi, I'm Samuel. I'm a small business owner. Recently got appointed to the Lapine Budget Committee, and I'm a precinct committee person for the Republican Party. In Deschutes County, I lived here most of my life, and it's going downhill. I think we all notice that, Democrat or Republican, and I just feel like we could do better. So, thank you.
Thank you. Opening remarks, Amanda Page.
I'm Amanda Page. I'm a flight paramedic, a Klamath Tribal enrolled member, a working single mom, and a Redmond School Board director. I grew up on a small cattle ranch in Southern Oregon, and I was on the reservation of my people. And I was taught a couple of things by our elders. You protect the land and you take care of your people. Protecting the land to me looks like smart land use that protects wildlife, water, and natural resources. And taking care of people means that we work on affordability, not just housing, but on childcare, transportation, and other things that affect working families. It also means policies that protect our neighbors from unlawful raids by ICE. And really, I come from this from a perspective of community matters, and we need to create a community in Deschutes County that works for everyone, not just the people in power. I really would deeply appreciate your vote for seat number 3. Thank you.
Thank you. And Amy Sabadini.
First, I'm going to apologize for coming late. I was an offender bender on my way here. Please don't hold that against me. I raised my kids here. I've been here 20 years as a teacher at Bend High, social studies teacher, and then I taught teachers at OSU Cascades. I was a union leader, and I also then coached civic education around the state. I have a background in land use planning. I was holding the oil and gas companies in California accountable for environmental and safety regulations. And I am running to make sure that working families are represented at the table when the big decisions are coming, which are coming. And I want to make sure that we all take into account both the affordability problems and the growth and make sure that we grow wisely. I'm running for seat 3.
Thank you. Those are the opening statements for our candidates. We will now move on to questions. You will have 1 minute to answer each question. We will start with Amy. Do you support or oppose the proposed county redistricting map that will be voted on in November?
I oppose the map not because I am against all districting in concept. It happens in a lot of places around the country. But I am opposed to how this process went forward, when it went forward, and the data that was used in the process. So I would like to see us start over and ask the voters first, do you even want districts? Yes or no, before you have a specific map to have to vote on. And I also think process is very important. Having taught the Constitution for 20 years, it's process that keeps things fair. And so if we agree to a process, then we agree we're going to accept the outcome. So the process to me was flawed. And I know I've said that a few times, but it was. So I will be voting no in November, but that does not mean that I always think districts are wrong in every case.
Amanda, do you support or oppose the proposed county districting map that will be voted on in November?
I oppose the district maps will be voted on in November. I think they're designed to address a very real problem, and as a problem of representation. There's a very real fear that some people will not have voices on the county commission under the current at-large system that we have. But I do think that there's a much more eloquent solution to this that is much more fair and provides people who to have a voice on the commission while still preserving majority. And to me, that really eloquent solution is proportional ranked choice voting. It's been proved, tested and proved in the state of Oregon already. People are incredibly happy with the system. The vast majority of people who participate in it are, and it addresses this problem of fairness and allows people to have a voice on the county commission while still preserving the voice of the majority.
Thank you. Samuel, same question.
So I hit the jackpot with my district. And I don't know about the rest of you, but since I hit the jackpot, I like it. It makes it easier for me to run someone without as much money as the other candidates. And but the other districts, they may not have a voice, like they said. I do support it, but I think it could be redrawn a little bit different. So.
Thank you. Lauren, same question.
I've spent 12 of my 15 years in Deschutes County living outside of city limits as a non-affiliated voter. So I can let you know that I am a very, very strong advocate for my soil conservation district manager. Okay, it is very hard to feel like you're represented when you're outside of an urban growth boundary. For this reason, I do support the maps, but I also support the democratic process. We can come into the county commission and we can figure out whether or not what has been drawn up is the right thing, and we can vote as a population and we can adapt things. That's the whole point of democracy, right? That's the whole point of us being a constitutional republic. So I absolutely support us being able to have representation across the county from the entire county. That's very important to me as a rural voter. And I'm sure there's a lot of rural voters that agree with me on that.
Thank you. GW, same question. Do you support or oppose the proposed county districting map that will be voted on in November?
I support the map. I've lived in this county for 52 years in 4 different places. And I can say that I think that when they came up with a map, I did a really good job. I'm all for that map, period.
Thank you. Charles, same question.
The answer to the question is I will support whatever the voters decide in November. Now back to my opening statement. Gonians are leaders, and we need to lead, and we need to lead the nation, and we need to lead the planet, and we can do that online, and we should do that online. And I have created programs to be owned and operated by Deschutes County and by the Oregon state government. This will have 0 taxpayer money. It'll be all done on private donations and volunteer work. It'll be crypto, AI, search, social, etc. And this will give us an opportunity to show the rest of the world how to do government correctly. Oregonians have always been leaders in progressive politics, and the world needs our leadership now more than ever. Thank you.
Thank you, and we respectfully ask, please stick to the topic of the question in your responses. Thank you. Thank Tony?
So 1916, we created a new county by seceding from Crook County. The railroad came up here in 1911, so we created a new county about 110 years ago. We were a judge and 2 commissioners for many years up to the 70s. In the 70s, it went to 3 commissioners and a strong administrative form of government. So we have a county administrator that is the professional that the department heads work for. Now, years later, we've grown a lot. So we're about 210,000 people now. And at this point, obviously, we've had some efforts. We went to nonpartisan seats. We're going to 5 commissioners. So as part of that, the citizens voted, let's go to 5 commissioners. Yay, 5 commissioners. And I asked people real quick after the election, it's like, oh, what were you looking for? I want my commissioner. Multiple people said, I want my commissioner. Oh, so you want districts. Didn't we vote for districts? No, we didn't vote for districts yet. So I felt responsible for creating that map. The map's going to go on the November ballot. I'm going to vote yes.
Thank you. Jamie, same question.
Thanks. I do not support the proposal that will be before voters in November. This is, folks, this is about bridging the rural-urban divide and making sure every corner of this county has a voice. I grew up in a very small town where my destiny and the destiny of people in the town that I grew up were decided by bigger, faraway places and cities. And the answer is a transparent, data-driven process to get input from every corner of a community before lines are drawn. That is not what we had. We had a process in which, for example, the last session held by the DMAC, the District Mapping Advisory Committee, was actually scrapped. A session that was going to be devoted to public comment. I have served abroad in countries where process has been used to disenfranchise people and take democracy away and concentrate it in the hands of the few. And I do not support the proposal that will be before voters here in November for that reason. Thanks.
Thank you. We will move on to financial matters, and we will begin with Jamie on this particular question. The county budget is approximately $670 million. What financial experience do you have to oversee this budget? Jamie?
Sure, thanks. I think this job is about 3 things, right? Vision, coordination, and proof that you can deliver under pressure with very large programs at your feet. Commissioner sets a vision, right? Articulates what this community stands for, lays out a map to get there, and then empowers our talented county staff to do the rest. Coordinate across cities and agencies and tribes and community members and partners on problems that no one fixes alone, and here to manage a nearly $750 million budget with discipline. And that's the work that I've been doing for 22 years. As Oregon's former on-scene coordinator, I directed more than 300 emergency responses, wildfires, oil spills, contamination across 18 counties, including Deschutes County, and managing multi-million-dollar budgets to achieve effective outcomes for every voice in a community, and to keep people safe. And that's what I hope to do here on the County Commission. Thanks.
Thank you. Tony, same question.
So I remember when I was in college and I wasn't really making money, but we were spending money, had a small part-time job. And I figured out that, oh, if I have, X amount of income, $100 a week or something, I'm going to figure out how to live within my means. And then you get a job and all of a sudden you have a couple $100 a week or maybe $1,000 a week. So you just need to know your income and expenses. Every budget problem you can break out in the smallest pieces. We have all the other elected official department heads and revenue streams coming from all kinds of directions. The most valuable and the funnest time I had was my first budget as a county commissioner. We have public budget members and experienced commissioners that were on at the time. and you just kind of peel the onion back and you learn about the different pieces. And then as you're a commissioner for a while, somebody will be elected up here, you learn about how you want to advocate to the state and the federal government. And also, I've been just laser focused on, being prudent with those dollars and also respecting, our maximum tax rates. When right after the recession, we were able to lower the rate for a few years. So I do have experience managing this budget.
Thank you. UW, same question.
Well, I've had 10 years' experience at Swally Irrigation with dealing with budgets. And also I was on the church board at West Side Church when it moved from 14th Street to the present building. I was involved in all of the budgets had to do with the church and also with Swally Irrigation for 10 years.
Thank you. Lauren, same question.
So I mentioned at the beginning, my very first job out of college was to be a logistics officer. My budget was 800 to 900 million of equipment that I had to deploy to a foreign country and then establish an initial base camp and infrastructure there with that equipment. And just to understand how meticulous I was, I actually signed over serialized equipment to another logistics officer and supply officer. And a year later, when they came back and they were looking in garrison in the United States for that serialized equipment, I had all of my records and files still on hand, and they found every last serialized piece of equipment that I had signed off on. I also was able to work with a project for a Defense Logistics Agency where we realized that we were going to have more cost savings to have up armor Humvees than to have the armor kits that we had. I've run a small business. I've done bookkeeping. I currently work in public defense as the administrator.
Thank you. Daniel, same question.
So I was recently appointed to the Lapine Budget Committee, small business owner. In high school, I would sell basil to Newport Market from Ben High, and then Lapine High, when I went there, I would sell firewood to Ace Hardware. So I know quite a bit about budgets and item placements. Thank you.
Amanda, same question. The county budget is $670 million. What financial experience do you have to oversee this budget?
So as the only person running for seat 3 who has experience governing at this caliber, I can say working on the Redmond School District, this is a large part of what we do. And when we're talking about budgets, that is the execution of the budget, but that's only part of it. It's also setting a vision for what you want your district or department or commission to be, and turning that vision into a values document where you're allocating dollars to what matters the most for your communities. So I have a great deal of experience with this. I've also worked on the Bond Oversight Committee on the Redmond School District and been through several budget cycles. Thank you.
Thank you. And Amy?
A budget is a moral document. It shows your values. I have been a teacher for over 20 years, and every year I am asked to do more with less. I have more students, more curriculum, and fewer dollars to do it. I used to be an English teacher, so I know that was the right word. I also advocated at the state level for budget changes for education and have been a union leader. So I'm very familiar with the problems that we will be facing. We are about to have some serious budget issues as federal dollars go missing. I've also been a grant writer. I think that might come in handy actually, as we need to rely more on grant funding. And I have also been a single mom.
And Charles?
So if this is a question about my mathematical skills, they're very good. And if this is a question about a deficit, I will make sure that we'll never go into debt as long as I'm part of the commission. And if this is about transparency, then I'll make sure that the entire budget is online for everybody to see and monitor where every dollar goes. And so that's my answer.
Thank you. We'll move on to another question. We'll start with Lauren for this question. It's a sensitive one. Veteran suicides in Oregon exceed national averages, accounting for 23% of state suicides. 72% of them included use of a firearm. How would you reduce this risk in our county?
Just to clarify, the suicide risk or the firearm part?
I would say the suicide risk based on the question. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The last 3.5, 4 years I've spent in suicide prevention, de-escalation, and postvention. Postvention is the hardest one. I have lost veterans in our community directly. I've lost them because of death by firearms. I've lost them because of death by hanging. I've lost them because of death by overdose. It is not a simple subject to unpack. We've been working the last 3 years with the program called Together with Veterans. It's a suicide prevention program. And I think it says something when the big VA identifies our county as one of 38 in the United States with the highest suicide rate, not only among veterans, but among youth. And we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing wrong and what can we do better? And the number one thing that we have found we can do better is engage as a community. And it's very hard to answer this question in 1 minute.
I would agree.
Agreed.
Samuel, same question, please.
So this topic hits pretty hard. I knew a veteran who killed a friend of mine, a murder-suicide here in Deschutes County. And you need a lot more resources than we have. It's really touchy and it's too short of a time to really get on this topic, but it's a big problem and we need more resources any way we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Amanda, same question.
Yeah, this question is really personal to me. I was married to someone who went through 2 deployments or 3 deployments. 2 of them were with me. Walked through, held his hand as we walked through PTSD post-deployment and took the phone calls of people from his unit having died by suicide post-deployment. And so I deeply feel the pain, the reality of how vast of a problem this is and how many people's lives it touches. And so to me, it's addressed 3 ways. It's addressed through money, it's addressed through resources, and it's addressed through commitment to doing what works. Money is ensuring that we have appropriate budget for our mental health services and our veteran services. Resources means that we have the right people in the right place for them, including crisis intervention, responding to 911 calls. And commitment to data means that we're doing the very best research we can and following the best protocols and seeing who's doing this well and following their lead.
Thank you. Amy, same question, please.
It's heavy. It's very heavy. 40% of the veterans that come to the county veteran services don't have an address, so they can't even access the care that we've promised them as Americans who gave their service. So I really respect everything that has been said so far, and I concur. We also have a lack of beds for after people maybe exit the stabilization center. Where are they going to go? The hospital is not necessarily appropriate for all of that. We need to come up with solutions as a community, and we need to maintain mental health care. There is a healthy schools program too, because this isn't just veterans. I have lost students. It happens a lot with the young folks. The numbers are getting a little better with the teens, but the young adults up to 24, the numbers are still the worst in the state.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Charles, your response, please.
Well, if veterans are considering suicide, I would basically just say that, things will get better and don't do it. And there's lots of help available. But if I want to get philosophical about suicide, it's a very interesting issue. And frankly, I believe that, you have the right to live your life, and it's your life and you can do what you want with it. And if someone does commit suicide, I'm not going to insult them by telling them they made a mistake. So I respect everybody's decision, but obviously I would prefer not to kill themselves.
Thank you. GW?
Well, I stand in an interesting position because I have, being an ordained minister, I have officiated a funeral for someone who has committed suicide. And I also had a grandfather who killed himself with a firearm. So I would do everything I could to help prevent that, especially among veterans who've given their life for the country. I would make sure they get all the help they can get. In fact, I prevented my grandfather from committing suicide for 3 years prior because I hid all the weapons. I knew he was prone to do that because of my psychology background as well. So I would do everything I could.
Thank you. Tony?
So currently at Deschutes County, we've provided a great foundation. We do have a Veterans Village, which is a tiny home community for veterans very specifically. It's running very well. The health department, behavioral health, we have resources there. There's a lot of folks out that are doing outreach every day, making connections in the community. Obviously, the goal is to reduce the risk. Veterans Court has been supported here, so we have a judge that does do a docket for veterans that need that structure and want to be acknowledged as a veteran. And then you just work through the community efforts. We do have the Band of Brothers in each community, Redmond and Bend and Lapine and Sisters. The Band of Brothers is a great support organization. And then you work back to the sense of community, making sure that when somebody does ask for help, all these resources get in alignment and offer those helps. It's the help. It's a real shame when suicide is an option and it's thought about and even executed. Bad word to be using there, but that sense of community. Also, just the faith-based network to be able to really reach out. So, a lot of resources.
Thank you. And Jamie, your response, please.
Thanks. As you can see, this is a deeply personal issue for those of us up here who have served in uniform or have loved ones that have, or those in our communities, friend groups that have, and I'm sure for all of you as well. I spent the weekend actually up with my reserve unit. I'm a reserve officer in the military. I continue to serve, put my uniform on every weekend. We actually ran my unit through a thing called Safe Talk this weekend, which is to provide individuals with the skills and the training to intervene and to stabilize individuals who are at risk of suicide. That followed the death by suicide of a member in my unit within the past year. So here in the county, I take this back. The thing that we have here that can most impact these veterans, including the 83 veterans in our community that do not have homes, is something called the Stabilization Center. That does not have a full, long, dedicated source of funding. And we need to prioritize resources for that to stabilize these people and veterans like myself and those of us up here in crisis. Thanks.
Thank you. And on behalf of the voters here, appreciate responding to a very sensitive and personal question. We'll move on and we'll start with Jamie on this particular question. It is a little lengthy. Lapine and South County have a problem with pollution of the groundwater from nitrates. This contamination is moving towards the Little Deschutes and Deschutes rivers. What is your plan to address this problem? Jamie?
Thanks. So 18,000 people in the southern part of our county have their homes over an aquifer that is contaminated by nitrate from very shallow septic systems and wells that are equally as shallow in many cases. Some of this contamination is more than 20 times over the federal safe limit. And these are families that you know in the community that you drive through every week. It's not just South County here. We have similar challenges that are on the horizon in other parts of our county. This requires an all-hands-on-deck approach to government, most of all ensuring that when and if a groundwater area of concern is declared for the southern part of our county, the folks that live down there are not saddled with the bill. And that is my primary concern here, is to share that debt equally and equitably, which will require engagement with the state and require some very tough discussions here in the county when it comes time to address that problem. And that time is now. Thanks.
Thank you. Tony, welcome your response to that question.
So we have a water and sewer system that's been completed in the city of La Pine. A couple hundred more properties have gone onto a sewer system. For the last 15 years, we've put in nitrate reducing systems on new development in southern Deschutes County. It was calculated to be a problem 50 years from now, about 15, 20 years ago, if all properties had a system and there was 2.5 people average living in every house. So the issue has been cut down a lot since we talked about it. To be able to say that there's poison, the day we had a well, show me a well, a domestic well that is dangerous. He's throwing out numbers here, but we don't have bad wells. We have an issue that we need to manage, and we need to be able to expand and protect that water. It's good groundwater. It's highly flowing, draining volcanic soil, so it is a high groundwater system, and we need to manage it well. DEQ's taken the lead on this. DEQ has gone in different directions. Now they're talking about air quality, not even groundwater anymore. So as a commissioner, the most valuable thing we can do is work with our partners on that.
Thank you. Samuel, same question, please.
So I think we should grow duckweed to filter out the nitrates. And we could sell it as biofuel or animal feed. Low cost solution, not as expensive as the polymers or resins. They don't cost $1 million. Easy to grow duckweed. Simple, natural solution. Thank you.
Amanda, same question, please.
Yeah, I believe this problem is based in irresponsible development and short-term vision, whereas I believe that we should be looking at growth for the next 7 generations. Water is life, and for people to say that this water is not clean is insane. That's what they said in Flint, Michigan. We are not going to allow people to tell us that it is safe when we know science knows that it is not safe for our community members. First, we need to stop the bleed. We need to financially assist homeowners with faulty septic systems to get them replaced. We need to ensure that future building is done in a way that holds developers accountable for safe and responsible building practices. And we need to follow the science where it leads to cleanup. And maybe that is creative solutions like Samuel has. I'm open to it. But it needs to be based in data and science and not in what sounds good, like this water is fine, let's ignore it. That is not the solution.
Amy, same question, please.
As I listen to that response down there, it makes me wonder if there's a desire to keep it quiet so the property value doesn't go down. But ultimately, we have a responsibility to the health and welfare of the people. And that also means we share the burdens of the cost to fix those damages. So I agree with what my colleague to the right has said. I'm evidence-based. I was raised by scientists, and we need to follow the facts and not ignore them because there's a serious problem. And if it is a danger to the infants who drink that water, there's also options for filtering that we could deal with in the meantime, but it can't be kicked down the road. This can.
Thank you. Charles, your response, please.
Moving forward, we should only allow to build homes and apartments that are environmentally safe. And the issue is clean water. Well, guess what? The issue is clean water everywhere on the planet. And it's only going to get worse worldwide. People are running out of water, don't have clean water. These issues are going to get worse. And that's because we're harming the earth and we need to stop it. It's wrong to kill the planet. It's illegal to kill the planet. And we need to stop it. And apparently I'm the only one at this table who is aware of this, who has the courage to talk about this. Thank you very much.
EW?
Well, having worked at Ben Research in my past, I worked in water filtration. I know a lot about trying to purify water. The interesting thing is one of the best systems is an RO system, which you can remove almost everything. In fact, the technology I worked on at Ben Research is being used on the space station as we speak. The interesting thing is we've got a lot of nitrates, which the wells are very shallow in La Pine, 30 feet on some of them, up to 100 feet. And when you don't have much room to purify the water, you're going to have contamination. So something needs to be done to stop maybe more population coming in there until that's remedied.
Thank you. Lauren?
You know, when I moved here 15 years ago, I was warned by my real estate agent that there was shallow groundwater and that mixing of septic systems leaching at that time. So this is something the county has been dealing with for a while for South County. Earlier last week, Janine Earls, the mayor of Lapine, said to me, Lauren, we need a logistician down here. We need someone that's going to see the complexities of this system and help solve them. And we will see, as whoever becomes county commissioner, we'll see many conundrums put in front of them, and they will not be the experts on everything. And what a logistician does is they are the jack of all trade, the master of none. They listen, they decide, they act, they see how that decision is going, and then they decide again. We have to find the experts, and we need to get them in the room. We need to get the stakeholders at the table that are the scientists, that are the people that understand these systems.
Thank you. We have time for another question or two before we will invite you for closing remarks. Amanda, we will start with you with this question. What ideas do you have for increasing access to mental health resources in our county?
I think this is a deeply important question. As a flight paramedic, I see the aftermath of when people aren't able to access healthcare in the beginning when they start to have problems. And so when we talk about increasing access, it really starts with education, having adequate education to people about what mental health is, and more importantly, what services are available to them. Our county health department has done an amazing job of being really creative in the way they're providing mental health services. In fact, they receive a lot of grants because they're doing things that other counties haven't started to do yet, and they're experimenting with really solid programs. And so it's helping people be aware of these, and then going to take that a step further, increasing grant writing to get these more innovative solutions, and really putting some resources behind this, because the budget's only going to get smaller as Medicare and Medicaid cuts and federal funding is cut for mental health services.
Thank you. Amy?
If you're a parent in this area, you know how hard it is to get your kid in to get mental health services. We don't have enough providers. I think that is partially due to the lack of housing. Even doctors can't afford to move here right now. So one, we need to build more housing. Two, we need to make sure that as people fall off Medicaid or kicked off Medicaid, thanks to what's going on in the country, that the county has enough personnel and budgeting to accommodate those needs. The Sources of Strength program in the Healthy Schools program must be preserved. It is actively teaching kids those skills that Amanda was just talking about, and we need to expand them because right now they're only in Ben Lapine high schools, and they could be at more, those on-site clinics could be at more schools.
Thank you. Charles?
The question is, what ideas do you have for increasing access to mental health resources in our county? I don't have any ideas. I want to decrease the access to mental health resources in our county. I'm a libertarian. I'm for less government. What is this? Are we going to hire 1,000 shrieks from Portland and bus them out so everybody can get therapy sessions 3 times a day? This is a ridiculous question. Thank you.
UW?
Well, in talking to some of the Deschutes County police officers, I know that most of the homeless situation is probably because of mental issues. I would do everything we could to try and get more one-on-one with these people and more help to the Deschutes County police officers who see this every day. I don't know that another program is gonna work, but we need to do everything we can to prevent it.
Thank you. Lauren?
Number one priority should be our youth. We need to invest early in mental health counseling, but mainly we need to invest in mentorship, purposeful esteem building activities, authentic peer relationships, and vocational opportunities. When young people feel connected and valued, we reduce the long-term system involvement down the line. They can be the individual in their family systems that break multi-generational trauma. That's so important that we invest in our youth. There's a few layers of this. We have the dual diagnosis layer, and we just saw a KTVZ article, problem solver coverage about that in our jails, we have about 90% are having these dual diagnosis problems. Stabilization center is only 24 hours. We need that 2-week detox and stabilization window. We do not have enough treatment facilities in that window. We definitely don't have enough treatment facilities for the 6-month window to get people stabilized. And then lastly, the civil commitment, that's a whole nother level, and I can't get into it because I have to stop.
Thank you. Samuel, same question, please.
So I think we should get the outreach out there, to, especially to younger people. And I also think we don't have enough mental health professionals in the county. So we should build an app, telemedicine, and have mental health professionals from across the country talk to our citizens. A cheaper solution than having a building with a couple of staff. We could have 100 of staff ready to go on an app. So thank you.
Thank you. Tony, invite your response to that question.
So this says mental health here, but I think of it as behavioral health. And we have the Behavioral Health Department of Deschutes County. Behavioral health is made up of mental health and addiction. So remember, we're dealing with multiple things here. When I start with the big picture, I always think of, well, let's have a sense of community. Once again, people need a sense of purpose, jobs and housing. Remember, just that whole scenario, and we all are in this together for that. And then after that, we really do have a lot of great services in Redmond and Bend and in La Pine. We have offices at Deschutes County Behavioral Health Services. So making sure our staff is fully supported in what they do. Filling the scheduled times is the tricky thing sometimes. People that are having those mental issues may not be coming in for a scheduled appointment. Then it takes twice as much time to get somebody stabilized just to even be able to get into the meeting to be able to receive services. So we are very professional in this environment, but as I say, I always think of it as the bigger picture, just the hope of having housing. We always have to watch out for how dense our community is also.
Thank you. Jamie, your response, please.
Thanks. Folks, you've heard tonight mention of the Stabilization Center from numerous of us up here. That is a place where, no questions asked, a person experiencing psychological crisis can go and is welcomed, and it is for 24 hours, but to get their feet under them and to get referrals out to the longer-term care that individual may need. That program, that center, actually reduces your cost as taxpayers, because the main purpose of that stabilization center is to reduce, to provide the services, obviously that stabilization crisis service to people, but to reduce the burden on law enforcement so that our sheriff's deputies and our police officers are not responding to mental health calls that don't require a law enforcement officer. That center does not have a dedicated source of funding that is stable for the Stabilization Center. It is the greatest resource that we have here in this community, and finding those resources for a permanent solution is the #1 priority. Thanks.
Thank you. On behalf of the attending citizens and voters, thank you for answering those questions. I know some of them are very difficult and very challenging. We will now move on to closing remarks. Each of the candidates will have 2 minutes for their closing remarks, and we will start with Amy.
Thank you for coming tonight. This is Democracy in Action. And yes, it's also a republic, because that's a type of democracy. I want to make sure we have accountable representation in our county. I will be a commissioner who is responsive to everyone in our county, no matter where you live, what identification you have or not. I want to use our resources wisely. Our tax dollars are limited. We will oversee 22 departments. That needs to be done wisely. Some need more oversight, and some need actually to be left alone more to do their jobs. I want to support safe and healthy communities with mental health, with more patrol for our sheriffs, with substance use disorder treatment, and ultimately sensible planning because we have a lack of water. We have a water quality issue. We have wildfire. We also need to protect our agriculture and our environment. And all of that takes someone who is willing to be responsible and responsive. And I ask for your vote for seat 3 to be the person who is a collaborative problem solver with the other commissioners at this very dais. Thank you.
Amanda, we welcome your closing statements.
At the beginning, I talked about the importance of protecting the land and taking care of the people. This has been my entire life. I've given my life to serving the public. First as a flight paramedic, where I've learned to make life and death decisions in critical, high-stress situations where lives are on the line. The next is as a working single mother. I know the importance of affordability and how our community members need immediate relief. As a Klamath tribal member, I learned how to govern in a way that doesn't make decisions based on the next election cycle, but based on the next 7 generations. As a Redmond School Board Director, I've learned to govern well. I've learned to govern across the aisle, to learn to listen to people who don't think like I do, and to make decisions that are based in data and evidence and not on my own opinions. I heard the phrase jack of all trades and master of none tonight. Well, I'd like to assure you that I have become a master of trades from really hard work. I'm a master of the art of public service, of governing with compassion, and of listening to people who think differently than I do. I'm here for young people, for working families, for seniors, for our rural neighbors. I'm here for people just like you, and I want to be held accountable to people like you, to you specifically. We need someone in this position who has a vision for a healthy and thriving Deschutes County, someone who's willing to make hard decisions, and someone who is willing to be accountable and listen to you, the voters. Thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate your participation. I would love to talk to you afterwards if you have any questions on policy specifics we didn't get to. Thank you. What's up, Ketcha?
Thank you. Samuel, invite your closing statement.
So I'm pretty young. Deschutes County is the youngest county in Oregon, and I have some pretty innovative solutions. I have some boring ones too, 100-step plan and all that. But some of my solutions for wildfires is firefighting robots. Ben has one, and it costs millions, called a Firebot or something. It's very expensive, but I was talking to OSU Robotics Club, and I was thinking we could build cheaper robots to fight our fires, dig our lines, cut down our trees. And they were pretty interested in that. I'm going to hit up their engineering department and see about that. I feel like the county college or the college here and the high school students could really benefit from that, the robotics. So that should be interesting. And then Deschutes County is going downhill. I lived here 20 plus years, and it's not a nice small town or nice small county like it used to be. Ben, you could walk anywhere and not worry about a homeless person kind of coming at you, and it's just going downhill fast. If you lived here for as long as I have, 20 years, you start to notice it, and it's bad. Thank you.
Lauren?
Five commissioners, that's what we're going to. There's 15 people in this race. Every one of us has a different background, different perspective. The county commissions have to lead from a place of calm. Reactionary, emotional, and ideologically driven decision-making is not going to get us where we need to go. We can't afford that. My approach is collaborative, and it's grounded in shared responsibility for the outcomes. I ask hard questions. I make you uncomfortable as tactfully as I possibly can. I stay disciplined, I respect differences, but I stay focused on solutions. Long-term progress happens when people are willing to work through disagreement, and we need that for our county right now. I want to be one of your county commissioners, and in 4 years at the end of the term, which is general and at large, I'd hope to see residents saying that housing is more attainable and better aligned with infrastructure, that fewer people are stuck cycling through homelessness, crisis, and the justice system, that our infrastructure is keeping up with the growth because our growth is inevitable, that people can trust our county government again, all parts of our county government, and that community members feel a sense of ownership and stewardship over the county we share. We don't just live here. We're responsible for what we pass on. County government should reflect that sense of ownership, and we must be fighting the local battles. Thank you. Lauren Connolly, position 3.
Thank you. GW?
Yeah, I moved here in 1974 from West Texas. I'm a great-grandnephew of the founder of the 4-6 Ranch in West Texas. My grandfather got his start from Uncle Bert giving my grandfather 8 Hereford cows, and the ranch I grew up on is still there. It's still functioning, and I still own 700 acres. But I asked my grandfather one time, who also started the bank, I said, "Grandpa, how did you survive the Depression?" And he said, "Well, I helped a lot of people, but I didn't loan a lot of money." He made prudent decisions. I promise I will make prudent decisions for this county if I'm put in. The other thing is, I've got a lot of background. I was a wildland firefighter. I know all about fires. I've been in the middle of a fire with a water tender, fire on both sides of the road. I don't want to see a lot of fires. I want to see us do something about forest practices. We didn't used to have a lot of fires when I first came here. It has gone downhill quickly. I've been recommended by the Forest Service twice. I've been on a fire south of La Pine, one at the Indian Reservation, where the Forest Service gave me a recommendation for my good work. And it's because I care about people and I care about communities. I wouldn't have done that job if I didn't. The same way in Swallow Irrigation, when I was a director there, I actually went out to ditches to help people settle private ditch problems, because sometimes that's the only way you can do it. And let's get a weir in here that works, that'll be good for everyone. So I promise you, I will do my best to be a good county commissioner, common sense and prudent. Vote for me, number 3, position 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Charles, your closing statement, please.
Yeah, there's a lot of candidates running for Deschutes County Commission. They're all good people. They're all smart people. They'll all do a good job. These days, we need more than a good job done for us. Okay, we need something a little bit better than just the normal average stuff that we've been hearing over and over again forever. And so we need leadership, with creative leadership that addresses the problems in a simple way that you can understand. And we need, that's what we need. And, if I'm commissioner, I'll have an open door policy where anybody can come talk to me about anything at any time. That's as open door as it gets. And, this is a great county. Deschutes County is a great county. I've lived here 20 years. It's awesome, but we can be better, a lot better. Our potential is limitless, and there's so much we can do. And we just need to, do it. And it's not the same old stuff. It's new. We need to do new stuff. We've got new problems that need new solutions. And so that's why I'm running. And, that's why I think you should vote for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tony, your closing statement, please.
Great, thank you very much. I am an experienced commissioner here in Deschutes County. The Board of Commissioners, we make policy and budget choices, but also we get out and about, right? So one of the things that a Board of Commissioners, a commissioner can do is understand the big picture. Go to Washington, D.C., be in Salem, getting to all the communities in our County and really having good connections. A couple of big projects coming around, solid waste. We're going to site a landfill here. Let's all work together on that. Please support a landfill siting process. We're working on a land swap for the fairgrounds, economic development lands at the edge of Redmond, swapping lands for the fairgrounds. Next capital project. Right now, we're finishing up a courthouse. It's going to be a beautiful facility, and we've got other stuff on the horizon, probably a public safety campus. One of the things I want to remember is this is 250 years of the United States of America, too. It feels like it's so stressful and tense, but let's celebrate that. 4th of July this year, 250 years, and as I say, I mentioned 110 years for Deschutes County, too, so we can really have some fun with that. We didn't talk about homeless and unsanctioned long-term camping a lot tonight, but we've got work to do. I think we're over the hump. It got worse, it got bad, really a messy situation, but I think we're coming down on the other side of that. So let's work together. Obviously, we want to have people have housing. We have behavioral mental health and addiction problems. We have medically fragile folks that just need a permanent place to be. So let's work together, make sure that the housing and homeless issue is improved over time. And as I say, I think we're on the downhill side of that. Expansions are happening, remember. City of Redmond is growing to the southwest. Bend is going to the southeast, and Lapine had just finished their sewer system inside there. I am Tony DeBone, open, honest, and approachable, available for communication on any topic. I'm serving the community right now, and I would honor to have your vote. ElectTonyDeBone.com.
Jamie?
Thanks. I'm going to pick up where I left off in my opening statement. You've all chosen Deschutes County to stay here or to move here for a reason. Maybe it was the mountains or the rivers, the schools, or the neighbors looking out for each other, or because this is still a place where you can send your kids to grow up running around outside. It is still that place, and that is why every one of us is in this room tonight. But the reality is your county commission's leadership has fallen behind as we have grown. The decisions that shape how this county grows, how we prepare for fire, where our water comes from, whether we have enough of it, whether your kids can afford to live here after they graduate, have been made without the plan, the data, and the urgency that they deserve. Here is what changes. On day one, we can stop approving new development that ignores water availability and fire risk. We can start designing the wildfire preparedness plan that this county, especially on insurance risk, has needed for a decade. And on day one, we can treat the South County water crisis like the public health emergency that it is. And on every day after that, we can make sure that the people who keep this county running, our nurses, our teachers, our firefighters, our sheriff's deputies, small business owners, can afford to live here. I have spent 22 years solving hard problems under pressure. As an officer in the Coast Guard, as a disaster responder, and as Oregon's on-scene coordinator for fires and spills here in 18 counties east of the Cascades. I know how to build a team, ground decisions in evidence, and deliver on time. This is a once-in-a-generation election for Deschutes County. You all deserve a commission with a plan, and I would be honored to do that work with all of you. Thanks.
On behalf of the League of Women Voters and the attending voters, as well as the voters in Deschutes County, wish to express my gratitude and thank the candidates for participating in tonight's forum. So remember, your vote is your voice. Ballots will be mailed on April 29th, and make sure to get your ballot postmarked by Election Day on May 19th. So your voice can be heard. The recording of tonight's forum, the candidates for positions 1 and 3, will be available on the League of Women Voters of Deschutes County's website and on their YouTube page. For more information about all the candidates, we invite you to check out vote411.org. Thank you for joining us, and have a most pleasant evening.
Want to say it?
I don't have to worry about it.
Now, on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Deschutes County, welcome to the Forum for Candidates for the Deschutes County Commissioners. I am Mike Fisher. Thank you to the candidates who are participating. We appreciate the gravity of running for office. In 2022, voters passed an initiative to make the county commissioners nonpartisan. Voters also approved increasing the number of commissioners from 3 to 5. Voters will vote for one candidate in each position. The top 2 voters in this election will advance to the general election in November. If one candidate receives more than 50% of the vote, they automatically win and they will forego the November elections. Now, the responsibilities of the county commissioners, they include, they oversee and approve the county budget, currently estimated around $670 million. Public Health Authority, Mental Behavioral Health Authority, Land Use Planning outside of the respective city-urban growth boundaries, Community Justice, oversee the district attorney and sheriff's offices, fire prevention and preparedness. The candidates for position 4 for a 2-year term, Rick Russell, Chet Wambolt. For position 5 for a 2-year term, Ron Buzel, Rob Imhoff, Jennifer Letts, and Morgan Schmidt. The candidates will have 1 minute for their opening remarks and 1 minute to answer each question. The questions have been submitted by you, the public, and thank you so much for doing that. And they have been screened by the League of Women Voters. Each candidate will then have 2 minutes for their closing remarks. We ask kindly that you please hold your applause and refrain from comments during the forum. And this message doesn't get old, but please silence your cell phones. We do appreciate that. For opening statements, we randomly selected the order. The order of who answers each question will also be rotated. We will begin with the opening statements for each candidate, and we will begin with Morgan Schmidt.
Thank you. My name is Morgan Schmidt. I'm running for County Commissioner, position 5. My day job right now is I'm the Executive Director for the Red Cross of Central and Eastern Oregon. But I've served this community for a long time, for the last 11 years as a pastor. I'm an ordained Presbyterian pastor. I've run for office before. In 2022, I ran against Commissioner Adair and missed that election by just 1% of the vote. All that to say, I am perhaps not a very fun dinner guest. You can have religion or politics or blood or disaster, but I am well prepared to be a county commissioner and sit in this seat. I know what it means to offer direct service to our neighbors, but I also know what it means to work upstream and create better policies to serve our community. And I have been tracking these issues and studying this job for years and years. I am ready to do the job as a fierce, kind leader to make Deschutes County a place where everyone can afford to thrive.
Thank you. Jennifer Letts, your opening statement, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jennifer Letts. I am the mayor of the City of Sisters. I'm in my 6th year on the City Council in Sisters and been really enjoying serving the people of Sisters and helping out everybody in that corner of our county. My background is with a master's degree in sustainability, which really gives me the ability to problem solve on a big scale, which I love to do. My family moved to Deschutes County over 40 years ago. So I went to elementary, middle school, high school here. This is home to me, and this place means a lot to me. So I'm really excited for the opportunity to take my skills with my years of elected service to the county level. And I'm also an independent candidate. I'm an unaffiliated voter. I've been that my whole life, and we're having an unaffiliated race, and I feel I'm answering the mandate for the people to be unaffiliated and represent everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Rob Imhoff, your opening statement, please.
First of all, thank you for having me. My name is Rob Imhoff, running also for seat 5. Oregonian, born and raised, so is my wife, so are my 3 boys and my 4 grandsons. I am running because I care about this community and I care about the direction that it's headed. At the county level, this job is pretty straightforward. We manage resources. We deliver core services, and we make sure that this is a place that you want to live and raise your family. That's my goal, is to make it Deschutes County and continue to have this county be the best place to raise a family. Excuse me. Balance is what I'm focused on. I come from a business background. In a business background, you have to balance a budget. You have to have signed both the front and back side of a paycheck. Those are important things to bring to the table, because then the executive function, which ultimately is what the county commissioner does, is how you live within your means. You don't burden taxpayers. You find better ways to save. Thank you.
Opening statement, Ron Bazell.
I'm Rondo. I am quite often these days described as a gadfly, and I've kind of come to like that description. I'm comfortable in this room because I'm here every week. I'm a student of local government, and for years, you may have seen me attend city council meetings and sometimes speak at city council meetings. The last 4 years plus, I've been coming here every Wednesday morning, and that takes a little bit of commitment, and that's what I've got. I'm somebody who shows up. I've got stiff competition that wants to get into this seat. I've been right across the row right there looking at this dais for a long time and understanding, I think, what it takes to do this job well, and to do it not representing a party. Thank you.
Chet, your opening statement, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chet Wombolt. I am running for County Commissioner, seat number 4. I was a firefighter for the better part of a decade. I also did search and rescue for the federal government during Hurricane Katrina and a few other large events. And then I started a business. I started a risk assessment business with a few of my buddies. And this gives me a unique perspective where I know how complicated government can be, but also I understand how important it is to have a private sector mindset so that we can trim fat and so that we don't have a lot of waste. I think we can all agree that there's a lot of waste in government, and nobody wants their taxes to be raised. And the way to prevent our taxes from being raised is by trimming the fat. So I've lived in Central Oregon for Deschutes County for 16 years, raised a family here. It's a beautiful place to live, and I want to share that with as many families as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Opening statement, Rick Russell.
Thank you. I'm Rick Russell, running for position 4. I've been a pastor in Central Oregon now for 22 years. More recently, executive director of a nonprofit called Mountain View Community Development. We built out the region's largest safe parking program. Earlier this year, we rehoused our 100th person. That's work that we're very proud of. If you've been following along in the media in the last few months, we recently secured $26 million to build truly affordable housing. And I think that's what this election is about. It is about affordability in Deschutes County and how unattainable housing has become. I know tonight we're going to talk about a lot of issues. I would expect wildfire and mental health access and public health. But underlying all of this is how expensive housing become. That's what we hear on the doors. It's what we hear when we talk to voters. And this is where I bring experience, building collaborations with partners across the county, housing experts, environmental groups, law enforcement, and I'm ready to put that skill set to work for you.
Thank you. We will now commence with the questions. Rick, we will start with you. First question is, and again, these have been submitted by the public, what is your take on Oregon's status as a sanctuary state and the presence of ICE in our county?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Oregon has sanctuary protections, and I think those are critical. I agree with those, and I want to see those continue on. When you remove sanctuary status, what happens is you create pockets where people are nervous to call law enforcement. We don't need that to happen. You create places that become actually less safe for the community. I have personal experience with this. I was a pastor, and a gentleman in my congregation by the name of Carlos was detained wrongfully on an ICE detainer, did not commit a crime, was here legally, but because ICE issued a detainer, he sat for 9.5 months in jail with no process, no due process. It's important that we follow our state laws. I know this is a significant disagreement that I have with my opponent who sees this issue very differently. But federal law enforcement, this is their responsibility. Local law enforcement, we police our own community and
Thank
our own
you
laws.
for your response. Chet, your response to that question, please.
Yep. He may be right. I think that we should follow the law. The law of the land currently is that we are a sanctuary state and a sanctuary community. I'm lucky enough to have a personal relationship with Ty Rupert and many other Sheriff's Department employees in our area, and I know that they will follow the law. And as County Commissioner, I will back the law. I will enforce the law, and I will make sure that our community is as safe as possible. And I think that that's anything that a community could want, for our families to be safe, to feel safe walking down the street, and to feel secure in our community. Thanks.
Thank you. Ron, your response to that question, please.
I'm not going to answer the whole question here in 1 minute, but I'll tell you what I have done already. I've spoken in this room to our county commission twice this year, asking them to file a restraining order against ICE, representing this county and representing me. I've been told that that's not the way that works, but you know, we can have whatever we want. So I'm saying, if this community wants to feel safe and actually take a first move and stop to wait for the other shoe to drop and wondering when they're going to come visit us, Donald knows this community. He knows how kind we are and how we feel about our brothers and sisters who have a hard time here already. And so I'm not afraid to get his attention. I say, let's get his attention in the right way. Let's file that restraining order. Thank you.
Rob, your response to that question, please.
The state has already legislated on this as sanctuary, so truthfully, as a county commissioner, that's not something that we really have a tremendous amount of voice or influence on. I will support the state and local law enforcement. I think that I do believe there is an important factor to consider, which is that people do need to feel safe in their communities. My understanding after conversations with our sheriff is that the only time that we really have to deal with ICE is in a situation of a detainer, and that requires a certain criminal offense in order to, and the sheriff has to abide by that retainer. But other than that, we are a sanctuary state. And so if that is ultimately what is legislated, then as a county commissioners, I swear to uphold that. So that's my position on it.
Thank you. Jennifer, your response, please.
Yeah, to kind of echo Rob a little bit, these sanctuary state laws have been in place for years and years. It's only really been a big issue about it starting about 1.5 years ago. And so, yeah, it's really a state issue and a federal issue and not so much a county issue. However, the presence of ICE in communities in Oregon and all around the country have created one issue that makes me very uncomfortable, besides, I think, the obvious issues with human rights, and that is that it has the ability to tear apart the good relationships that communities may already have with their law enforcement agencies. And I do not want to see these relationships being eroded especially at the county level, but any of our law enforcement agencies. They work very hard to earn the trust of people in our communities, and we don't need another kind of little rogue group of people coming in and messing that up. Thank you.
Thank you. Morgan?
Thank you. Unlike some of my colleagues up here, I don't share the same certainty that law enforcement officers from the federal level will respect our state sanctuary laws. And I think we've seen that at work across our country, where our neighbors are scared. They are canceling plans. They are skipping school. They are going hungry because they don't want to go to the grocery store. And I think it does fall to county commissioners to lead, even if it might not be totally our jurisdiction to establish immigration law. What we can do is stand that violates those sanctuary laws of the state of Oregon. And I have personally stood in front of buses who have kidnapped our neighbors in the past, in the summer of 2020, and I will be honored to stand in the way of human rights abuses again. I think there are things the county commission can do to protect our citizens, to encourage and hold accountable our sheriff's office to protect our citizens. And I respectfully wonder whether my MAGA opponent, Rob, will stand up to protect our immigrant neighbors from federal overreach.
Do I get to respond to that?
Not an opportunity, but if the opportunity presents itself.
It's presenting itself.
No. No, there will be.
That's fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I also heard there was not going to be a personal attack, so I was just verifying.
We'll move on to something that is very sensitive in this area. And Morgan, you will have the opportunity to respond first. Precipitation has been the sole sources of water in the basin and has been decreasing since the 1990s. Some cities do not have enough water to meet anticipated population growth. What priorities do you see to meet our current and future water needs?
Thank you. I'll just say that I would never make a personal attack that isn't based in reality, and we have receipts. So it is a dialogue for Central Oregon, and I can't promise that we're going to have years like this. Our farmers and ranchers don't have what they need. Our river and wildlife don't have enough. Our wells are running or going dry, and our current water rights system is over-allocated and largely unmanaged. So for me, I know that the job of county commissioner is to try to work with our state partners to extend our state water banking pilot program so that people with water rights can move beyond that terror of how their property values might be impacted in order to lease that water back to the river or back to other farmers. We can make better decisions that put our future, and we can modernize irrigation so that farmers can convert from flood irrigation to sprinkler. We've got to listen to our farmers and advocate for our water so that everyone has what they need in the basin. Thank you.
Thank you. I do remind candidates, please stick with the issues that respond to the specific question. Jennifer, your response to the water question, please.
Thank you. Just this morning, I was at a meeting with other mayors from Central Oregon and water specialists on this very specific topic. And it is unbelievably complicated because there's two levels of it. Literally, there's surface water and there's groundwater, and we get our water all across this county from both of those sources, depending on where you are, and the aquifer is very different in every part of the county. One of the top issues is for our group was to really keep maintaining our system that we're able to function under. It's about to sunset in a couple years, and unfortunately, it's kind of boring. But we want to make sure that we're able to move forward for another 10 years so we can really tackle this problem because it's only going to get worse. That is a clear understanding, but we want to make sure everybody has access to the water they need to live, drink, and to farm and do what they need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Rob, I invite your response to that question.
So this says that precipitation is the sole source of water in the basin. Runoff is obviously, if you talk to the leading hydrogeologist in the Deschutes River Basin, they'll tell you exactly how big our basin is. It goes from the base of the Cascades, and it goes all the way to the Badlands, and it goes from the edge of the South County all the way to the Gateway. So when you understand we sit on a giant table that's gravity fed, I think that there is some level of alarmism that comes out. It's not that we have obviously much less precipitation than we need annually this year. I also do believe that there are cycles that affect that. I also do think that when you look at, for instance, juniper abatement, which has often been referred to by some as pseudoscience, but in reality it's not. There's a lot of studies that confirm it, independent studies. A 16-inch juniper drinks 17 to 27 gallons of water a day. So when you understand, if you do juniper abatement, what the ultimate impact is on the surface water, then ultimately that's going to give us at least a great place to start and start to see springs restored.
Thank you. Ron, your response, please.
The correct answer to this question is eradication of our juniper in this county. Thank you.
Chet, your response.
I agree with both of them. Junipers are an invasive species and they drink a lot of water. And that's certainly part of the scenario that we have to deal with. And there are numbers that kind of vary a bit, but the basic idea is that 90% of our water goes to agriculture, 5% goes to commercial, and 5% residential. The gorilla in the room is agriculture. And there are a lot of farmers who are using the flood method to water their plants. And as a community, I would like to see us get behind our farmers and increase their efficiency, increase their crop yield, and decrease their water usage. And also, we can also address this as far as residential is concerned, but this is a tiny piece of the puzzle. Most of our efforts should be going into agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, what does it mean when we have such a low snowpack, 11% of where we really ought to be? We are going to pay the price, and it will be our farmers who pay the heaviest price. It means increased fire risk coming to our community as we turn towards summer. We have 3 fire districts in our county right now who have a levee, Alfalfa, Camp Sherman and Sisters, Cloverdale. We need to give them the tools they will need, the fire work that they will need to do as a result of low water. We need to push for efficiency measures, especially in irrigation. And I think there's an opportunity for the county to learn what is happening with our aquifer as well. Right now, we have 15,000, 17,000 exempt wells around our county. I'm one of those at my home. I don't live inside the city limits. We don't know what's going on with those wells, and we don't know what's going on with our aquifer at those places. But the county could incentivize for a few folks putting in meters to know at those particular wells what is happening and bring that data back to make more informed decisions.
Thank you. Rick, we'll start with you with the next question. It is a sensitive one, to be cautioned. Veteran suicides in Oregon exceed national averages, accounting for 23% of state suicides. 72% of them included use of a firearm. How would you reduce the risk of suicide in our county?
I've been a pastor in this community for 22 years, and you get a front row to humanity in that kind of work. It was interesting to me a few years ago when St. Charles did a community-wide study to say, what does our community need to focus on? What challenges do we face? And the most significant challenge they came back with was loneliness. Now, combine that with the service that our veterans have performed for our community, the PTSD that often comes with time in combat, they feel this acutely. The county is the behavioral health authority for the county. It is our responsibility to provide for the mental health care of this community. And we're in a precarious position right now because Medicaid cuts are coming here in a matter of a few months, and that will drastically limit our ability to respond to all sorts of mental health crisis. And so this is a critical issue. I wish I had more than 1 minute to respond to it. But again, behavioral health authority for the community lies with this board.
Thank you. Chet?
Yeah, I think this is something that we can agree on. Community is the foundation of helping people out, getting people connected with each other into groups so that people can connect, talk about their problems, and see that they're not alone is such a huge part of going from a worse place to maybe a little bit better place through baby steps. When I look at successful programs in our area, the first one that comes to mind is the Veterans Village. So this place is near the Sheriff's Department, just south of there, and they provide a barrier of entry housing that requires people to be drug-free, not drinking, and having a job. And there's a time limit to the amount of time that the people can stay in there. And their success is shooting through the roof. So if we as a community can start to look at these programs that are having more success, then we are going to be more successful as a community, including our veterans.
Thank you. Rob, I invite your response to that question, please.
Thank you. So I have some personal experience as well in this area as a youth pastor. Dealt with a number of people who dealt with suicide either directly or indirectly. And I have spent the last 9 years supporting a couple of different organizations locally, Save a Warrior is one of them specifically, where they have these things called cohorts, where they take people and walk them through a multi-week process to try to get them help and healthy, mostly through personal connection and accountability. I believe that there's some stuff on the youth side. Rimrock Trails does a good job. There's obviously we have a stabilization center, which brings the public version into it, as well as the Veterans Village. I think that we need to be working to have those be funded. We need to make sure we have accountability. We have measurable results. We need to be outcome based. And I think at the end of the day, we can start to see a greater reduction in suicides with our veterans. Thank you. Jennifer?
This is a great conversation. I think everybody at the table here is bringing up some really great points. You know, I'm a child of 2 veterans. I have a couple nephews in the Air Force right now. I'm also a victim of suicide, and I think there's a lot of us in this room. Unfortunately, they're in that same boat these days. So you know, this is near and dear to me. I think that, you know, as Rick said, and others, you know, community is a very big part of this. You know, we're not going to see a lot of infusion of funds from the federal level, at least in the near term. And we're going to have to get creative. And there have been so many creative solutions in Deschutes County to be really proud of. And I think the county's role in this is to continue to support those services as much as they can. I'm always happy to throw money at services that actually work. But just really building that community. We've come a long way in being able to talk about this issue as a society, which is exciting, but we need to make some progress in stopping this. Thank you.
Morgan.
Likewise, I've had some experience, and it's heartbreaking to see just a small group of us up here who have been touched by this issue. I've had a loved one not only make use of the stabilization center, but also be someone who participated in an extreme risk protection order that had firearms removed from the home in order to protect him and his loved ones. And so this is a very real issue, and the county has a responsibility not just to tap into community, which is important, but to focus on the job. And the job of the county commission is to advocate for every state and federal dollar we can find to expand services for mental health care in Deschutes County, whether that's the stabilization center or the crisis assessment team that is mobile. We need to support and expand our outreach in schools for struggling students, and advocate for expanded and stable funding for our stabilization center, because Deschutes County should be a place where everyone knows that help is available on their hardest day.
Thank you. Ron?
So I'm a U.S. Navy veteran myself, and I don't know if that actually helps me in this conversation at all, except I probably have known, a lot of veterans do know a lot more of us who have had suicidal issues. And I really don't have a comment about it, because everything that I would want to say on the subject is extremely personal. And but I will say that in many of the meetings that I've spent time in this room listening to the way that this commission spends our money, we have been devoting more and more attention to mental health and behavioral health issues and local services. So I'm confident that that's going to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer, we'll invite your response to the next question, which I know we only have 1 minute for responses. What actions can the county take to address housing shortages and rents that are unaffordable for many residents? And what is your long-term proposal for the management of shelters and sanctioned camps?
1 minute, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately.
All right, solve all the issues in 1 minute. Okay. state of Oregon puts the onus of housing Oregonians mostly on cities. And so the county has a very big role in supporting those cities make that happen. Now, of course, there's many, many people that live in the county and a lot of communities like Tumalo and Terrebonne, places like that. So much of this question. Basically, it's really about supporting the cities. What I'd like to see the cities do is be way more creative with the types of housing that they're providing. And I think the county can also be adopting these in certain zoning types. I want to see some mobile homes come back, mobile home parks come back. Those have disappeared and created a big part of our homelessness issue. I want to see things like dormitories. That's been zoned out as well. I want to see condos come back as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I know this is difficult. Morgan.
I'm going to do it backwards. In terms of management of shelters and sanctioned camps, I think there's 4 things the county can do, what the job is for responding to our homeless crisis. 1, we can prevent people from losing their housing in the first place with rent and utility assistance. 2, we can identify and support these safe camping and safe parking locations with basic infrastructure that keeps our communities safer. And all the while, we can be bringing on more transitional housing and more permanent supportive housing for those who need it most, while working on affordable housing. And the way we work on affordable housing is that anytime our public resources, our tax dollars, our county land, tax incentives, or whether we're expanding city boundaries and working with city partners, anytime we're doing those things, we should be exploring deed-restricted housing that will match what people are actually making in Deschutes County for generations to come. Because people who work here deserve to be able to afford to live here, and we can make a supply of housing that matches that income.
Thank you. Ron.
So I'd like to kind of piggyback a little bit on what Jennifer said. So we do have some ordinances that possibly need to shift with regards to manufactured homes or mobile home parks. We have some rules that prohibit us from creating those again. I do believe that one of the major things that drives cost up is the cost of land. And with a manufactured home or mobile home park, the land or the space is actually owned by someone else, and you own the building that it sits on. So I believe that using public-private partnerships, there's a number of different builders that I have spoken with that have some means to build less per square foot. And if you combine that with maybe the county taking some non-resource land that we have that's maybe just full of juniper and rocks and doesn't grow much, and take that land and develop that into some housing that can create opportunities for those who, I've talked to a number of people in the workforce housing world that they are living homeless in a trailer because they can't afford the rent in a house. And I believe that we need to do whatever we can to change that.
Thank you. Rondo?
So I've been homeless in Bend for the last decade. I'm a nonpartisan, so I wasn't invited to the conversation at the end of this month from the partners from affordable housing because blah, 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 because guys like me are always eliminated from the conversation. So you want my opinion about what's wrong in this town? How about let a homeless guy have an opinion and have some power behind it? And I'll tell you what, if I'm on this commission, I'm going to be making some decisions that will educate you and represent what you really truly feel and what you really truly want and how you really want to treat people. Because I'll tell you what, I'm a little sick of tired of it. So call out the partners for affordable housing and ask them to say loudly the BS reason I got in my email this morning explaining to me why I wasn't invited to be part of the conversation with the other Democrats and Republicans that were. Thank you.
Thank you. Chet?
Thank you so much. Great question. I've been lucky enough to spend the last 4 or 5 years knocking on a lot of doors in our community. And the first question I always ask is, what kind of changes do you want to see in our county? And the answers are pretty similar. Homelessness is definitely one of them. Water is another one. And housing is the one that I hear probably 95% of the time. Older folks are afraid that their kids and their grandkids won't be able to live here. People in the millennial generation are concerned that they won't be able to buy a house or that they won't be able to keep it. And Gen Z is afraid that they'll never be able to own a home and they won't be able to have a family. The good news is that we have programs that can help them. We can create systems like the mini-hood development that creates a court with some small homes around it. Programs like this, as we grow, will enable us to give middle-income and lower-income families a place to live.
Thank you. Rick?
Yeah, this is a place where I've done a lot of work in the community and work that I'm very proud of. I'll be quick on this. Moving homelessness is not solving homelessness. There's one way out of this. We have to create places that are safe, legal, and sanitary for people to be. Number two, we need case management and individualized housing plans for folks who are unhoused to access resources that are available. And then number three, we have to build the housing supply that we need that is actually attainable for folks. I'm going to throw one specific idea here. When it comes to building housing inside of our urban growth boundaries, one of the largest landowners in our UGBs are churches and faith communities, many of whom have extra-sized lots and are interested in developing affordable housing. Last year, our legislature said, we want to make pre-development loans available to faith institutions to develop their properties, but we need our housing authority at the table, we need our builders at the table, and we can build housing inside of our urban growth boundary that fits the needs for our population.
Thank you. Rick, we will start you with the next
I'm a
question.
particular guy for these first questions, okay.
In light of the closing of the National Forest Service in Oregon, how would you protect our area from natural disasters, specifically wildfires?
Wildfire is on all of our minds. I thought we were going to make it through last summer without a significant event, and then the flat fire comes in August. Number one, we need education for our community. In the 1990s, we had the Skelton Fire, we had the Aubrey Hall Fire, lost 40 homes in Ben's. Our population was 75,000 people at the time. Well, now we're over 200,000 people, and a whole lot of our population who have moved here during that time have never lived with wildfire as a reality before. So there's always a role for community education about creating defensible space and using smart building materials when we're constructing new homes. I would remind you, we've got 3 fire districts who are also going to have levies on the ballot at the same time our names are on there in Alfalfa, Camp Sherman, Sisters, as well as Cloverdale. We need to provide our firefighters with the tools that they need to protect us. The last thing I'd say is homeowners insurance this is an increasingly difficult topic. We need to work with our state partners to make sure homeowners can access homeowners insurance policies. Thank you, Mimi.
Thank you. Chet?
Thanks. I'm lucky enough to be friends with Chief Herrera of the Redmond Fire Department. And he took me on a ride along the other day. We went out east of Redmond to check out what's going on out there. A lot of folks, a lot of burned down areas. And so I asked him, how much are you spending out here in county land? And he said, over $1 million a year. Just a couple of weekends ago, we had 3 wildland fires just outside of Redmond, and we're not even into summer yet. This summer is going to be huge, and we need leadership in place that can handle it. The Redmond taxpayer is currently paying for county land to be extinguished, and it's not right. We have access to Pell Grants at the county level, and we can help our fire departments take some of the burden off the taxpayers of our local community and keep you safer at the same time.
Thank you. Rondo?
I'm not an expert about anything, but I'm a really good manager. And that's what this job requires, good managers. A manager needs to be able to spot an expert from a bullshitter. And I used to own a collection agency in town, and for 20 years I was a bill collector. And believe me, I've heard a lot of bullshit in my life. I love what this county has done with fire protection. I have spoken to many over the years who serve us. I tell you what, I'm going to keep on letting the experts do what they're good at, and stay out of the way. Thank you.
Bob?
So I was fortunate to remember growing up in an organ that didn't catch on fire every year. And obviously, some of that was probably due to the fact that where I lived, most of it was logged on a regular basis. They had a very specific pattern. Once logging ends, then you have to ask, now that it's no longer being artificially managed, how do we manage it in a different way? I think one of the things is to pressure our federal and state lands to continue to increase and perform commercial thinning, control the ladder fuels or the underbrush that grows that causes these fires to burn so hot and so destructive, and also spread quickly. And then we also need to have clear evacuation routes. I think some of what we're seeing, especially in our cities, is road diets. And then you ask yourself, what's going to happen if we have a fire that happens up on Aubrey and people have to come down Greenwood? Those are big questions that we have to ask and we have to answer. Building materials, defensible space, the county is taking steps to do a really good job. I think we need to continue to increase those and listen to the experts.
Thank you. Jennifer, your response, please.
Yeah, just a little clarification as a former U.S. Forest Service employee, it is not being closed, it's just being torn to pieces. So if you want to, I don't know if that's any better. The city of Sisters is basically the most progressive city in the state of Oregon with our wildfire mitigation practices and our codes that we've been enacting over the last year, and the work we've been doing in partnership with many of our partners, including the Sisters Camp Sherman Fire District, the U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, Oregon Department of Forestry, Oregon State Fire Marshal's Office. We've been very proactive on this, partially because I am a former wildland firefighter. My husband and I own a wildfire mitigation consulting business, so this is my wheelhouse, and I get very excited about it. And if you want to talk a couple more hours about this issue, meet me afterwards. So, but I have the experience with my team and Sisters to really move the county forward and protecting our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Morgan?
I get a situational awareness report on my desk every week, and I'm just as worried as the rest of our community about our wildfire risk in Deschutes County. The county doesn't fight fire, the county doesn't oversee a fire department, but the county is an important collaborator with both preparedness organizations and response agencies. And so those are, when it comes to the job of county commissioner, those are the two parts that I see we play an essential role in. One, prevention, making sure that we have those fire-resistant building materials codes and defensible space rules that helped so much with the flat fire last fall, and that we have safe evacuation routes and roads for people when emergencies happen. And even when we prepare, we can't always prevent. And so we could go on at length, but when emergencies happen, we need elected officials who might not be firefighters, but who know that in an emergency, their primary goal is to ask, how can I help? How can I rally support? How can we make our community more resilient the next time this happens?
Thank you. I believe we have time for probably one more question, and we will start with Morgan on this question. What is your top priority as a county commissioner, and what will be the first issue or action you would focus on if elected to office?
Handle the paperwork over here. Do you want me to pass one down? Or?
No,
Is it
Probably.
she handed me a different?
Oh,
That's okay.
okay. I switched. Do you want me to go with the one? Okay.
Hold, please.
So
Campaign finance.
Yes. Should Deschutes County have a position on campaign finance?
Great question. Right now, my campaign manager is in the room, and I certainly have opinions on campaign finance. I want to see more transparency in elections. I want to see leaders running for office who aren't backed by dark money or nameless money or gray money. And I want to see a more level playing field where people who might not be able to self-fund, who might not have a lot of resources, who might not be friends with all the richest neighbors, can come and do the work and be elected to serve their communities. And I support the state and their efforts. I hope that we'll see stronger campaign finance reform in the future.
Thank you. Jennifer?
I think you'll notice with my campaign is that I'm running a really lean ship, and that's partially because I think campaign finance in our country and in our state needs a heck of a lot of work. I have a very hard time asking people for money to help me in this economy. in a time when inflation is out of control. So I'm using every other resource I have in my ability to get my message out and get to meet people, and hopefully that makes a big difference. But it is one of many reasons why, as an elected, we've struggled in Citrus City Council of trying to attract a wider variety of candidates who are representing everybody in our community. This is one of those issues, but there's many other issues involved in why we're not seeing a lot of diversity in our elected levels. But this is definitely one of those things that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Rob?
So I would love to see more transparency. I believe that there are PACs and back channel avenues that candidates are funded, many of them by the same, and there's obviously little rules and $100 or less, and you don't have to declare. And I believe that you should be proud of who you support as anyone who's supporting a candidate. I am sad that some people feel like they might be threatened or somehow canceled if they were to support you as a candidate, whether they're business owners or whether they're individuals in our community. So I do believe that we need to have campaign finance reform. I also believe that we need to allow people the opportunity to support someone without demonizing them. I think that's important, that we are civil and that we can disagree without being disagreeable.
Thank you. Rondo?
I have some opinions on this. I'm playing a different game. Politics in this country is a team sport, and I refuse to play that game. I've left the stadium, and I challenge the rest of you to leave with me and start making clear choices. Money doesn't have to be involved. I'm not going to ask you to give to my campaign. You know what I've been doing for the last decade or so, or you don't. Maybe we can meet, and maybe in a future event or opportunity, I can tell you a little bit more. But I choose not to take money because it confuses things. Sometimes we make decisions up here. We county commissioners make decisions up here that include donors, and we've seen that sometimes. Thank you.
Chet?
Yeah, we have freedom of association here. And at the same time, when public servants are faced with discomfort in the community, then that means it's time for us to shine a light on what they're feeling uncomfortable about. So I'm a fan of transparency. I'm a fan of candidates showing where their money comes from, and not everybody looks at Orastar, if anybody even knows what that is. So I would like to see more transparency. I would like for everyone to see where the candidate's money comes from, because that's a big part of the showing of our value system. And we are all about showing our value system to you, and if they jive, then you should vote for me.
Rick?
One of the endorsements that I'm particularly proud of in this campaign is an endorsement from the Independent Party of Oregon. And I'm grateful to have received that. One of the issues that is very important to them is campaign finance. This certainly is the job of our legislature to enact some change. And you may recall a couple of years ago, our legislature took action on this, but in the last short session that just wrapped up here, really kicked the can down the road to not implement it for another few years. I think that was the wrong decision. And I know that's going to come back. It's likely going to come back in the form of a ballot initiative because those who feel strongly about campaign finance reform, I think are going to take this into their own hands. And I think that's right. I think we have a fair amount of transparency in where money comes from. You can look up, as Chet said, and see where any of our campaign donors, who they are and how much they gave. The problem is there's no limit. There's no cap on that amount. And I think there ought to be for races statewide, including county commissioner races as well. Just to throw a little more on there, I would support open primaries as well to make sure that independents and non-affiliated voters can also vote in primaries consistently. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to the candidates for responding to the questions. We will now move on to closing remarks. Each of the candidates will have 2 minutes for for their closing remarks. And Jennifer, we will start with you.
First of all, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for holding this event. I want to thank everybody here. I want to thank everybody online. This is democracy in action, and when these rooms are empty, democracy is dead. So thank you for your part in all of this. My campaign, I kind of focus on 3 words. I'm experienced, independent, and homegrown. I'm one of the most experienced elected officials running in this entire race, and I'm excited to take my knowledge, my contacts, my experiences to the county level to support this beautiful county that we all love so much. Independent, I said that I'm an unaffiliated voter, and I pride myself in that because when any issue or any person comes and talks to me, I don't see labels. I want to hear what you have to say. And I am not going to put it through a filter of a party. I work on an unaffiliated council. Done that for, going on 6 years now. And I can't tell you how nice it is to work with people when that is taken off the table. I know my fellow counselors have different opinions than I do. And I know they vote differently than me sometimes. I don't care. We're there to serve the people. And with that out of the room, we can get so much accomplished. And I'm really excited for the opportunity to bring that to the county level. And I'm also homegrown. I was not born here. Sorry about that, but raised here, and my son was born here. That's where I was going. A lot of family stuff attached to this community. It means a lot to me. And then I just want to add one more thing. I am not only a candidate, but I am a voter too. And there's 3 other seats. I'm in the same position. I'm listening, deciding who I'm going to vote for as well. And if you're willing to just take a little bit of advice, you're voting for a team. It's not a president or a governor. You're looking for people who are going to work well with the other people on the commission to move Deschutes County forward. Thank you.
Morgan, invite your closing remarks.
Thank you. I am the candidate for position 5 who has the kindness, strength, and readiness to lead our county. I have built a broad coalition of endorsements and partnerships that are going to help us solve real problems. I am the candidate for position 5 that has been endorsed by the Independent Party as well as the Working Families Party, alongside multiple labor unions, local, state, and even federal officials, and dozens of community leaders from across the ideological spectrum. So this, for me, isn't about partisan divides, it's about how we serve Deschutes County best. I'm running for Deschutes County Commissioner because I believe that everyone who lives here ought to be able to afford to thrive here. And in order to do that, we're going to stop rolling out the red carpet for luxury development that invades our agricultural lands and wild places. We're going to stop dehumanizing and exiling our homeless neighbors. We're going to stop deceiving voters by proposing big ideas that are illegal or recklessly expensive or ineffective. And we're going to stop putting personal and partisan interests ahead of the people of Deschutes County. I am ready, I have a plan, and I know the job. We're going to provide excellent county services with a balanced budget. We're going to fight for affordable housing for our families and workforce. We're going to plan for smart growth that protects our land, water, and wildlife while making us all safer from wildfire. We're going to make sure we have robust mental health services so that everyone knows where to get help on their hardest day. And together, we're going to fiercely protect our community against any federal forces that overreach the laws of the land or choose cruelty in our community. I'm a candidate who knows what this job means and is ready to do the work. I will be a commissioner who builds on my established relationships within our community, with organizations, local businesses, and elected officials. With my track record, I know I can win. And with my experience, character, and commitment to public service, I know I can be your next county commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Rondo?
There are a number of ways to be qualified for a position. I'm filing an application for a job that I'm qualified for in this moment. I'm running against a few people that are highly qualified in a lot of different ways. But I believe that I am the right person for the job in this moment. I'm loyal. I've lived here for over half my life, and I love this place. But I'm loyal to the people here. When I've been an activist or a community volunteer or an elected nonprofit board member or a U.S. Navy active, living on board of a warship, or a lot of things that I've done in my life, many, many things, service-oriented, a lot of them for free. I'm loyal. And I say that in contrast to 8 of the people that are applying for this position as well, out of the 15 that have applied. 4 of them have sworn loyalty to the Democratic Party, and the other 4 have sworn loyalty to the Republican Party. And I want to tell you, all those hours, thousands of hours I've spent in this room, I can tell you the problem locally are the parties. The party attitude, the party rhetoric, the loyalty to them versus loyalty to you. I promise you, I'll be here for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Rob.
So Deschutes County is the economic engine for the state. If you look at a lot of the business development groups, you look at their studies and their findings, what you're going to realize is that we have, for a lot of intents and purposes, we've led the state and set an example for the state of how to succeed and run efficiently as a county, or excuse me, efficiently as a county. And my job as the county commissioner, that I see it, is to continue taking the county in that direction and leading our state. So my concern is when we have people who may be proposing very extreme measures to shift from that. I think that if there are things that are not working, by all means, we need to discuss them. We need to have a conversation. We need to come to some level of agreement, and we need to do it in a bipartisan way. I also have multiple parties who have endorsed me, including the Libertarian Party. And part of that is because I am more of a limited government approach. I think the government is a solution for certain things, but it's not the solution to all things. I believe that public-private partnership is a key to moving forward in a successful way. I think that you have to be able to work with the people that you sit alongside, whether you agree with them or disagree with them. My experience in business I have dealt with people that I would say are very difficult customers. I've probably been very difficult myself at times. So full transparency, we have to be able to recognize the areas where we're difficult. We have to be able to recognize the areas that I don't want to lecture people who sit in front of us and tell us about water or timber and tell them that I know more than they do. I want to listen. And then after we listen, I want to get together with people who have the same goal in mind to move forward and continue to lead this state and continue to have Deschutes County be the best place that it can be. Yes, I have big ideas, and big ideas are better than no ideas. And no ideas, they take you nowhere. We have seen how that takes us. So yes, I have big ideas, and I think they're fantastic. And I think a lot of the people I've talked to do as well. So thank you. I appreciate your vote. Rob Imhoff, Deschutes County Commissioner, seat number 5.
Thank you. Chet.
Good. In 2018, I started going to county commission meetings. In my fire background, I used to be the liaison for the chief, later became the chief's assistant. He didn't like City Hall too much, so he'd send me over there. And so I thought I'd get back into it after we moved up here. And one of the first meetings I went to, then Commissioner Henderson gave a presentation on PERS. He spent an hour drawing diagrams on a board and showing how mistakes of one generation caused havoc for the next generation. And I thought, man, he is teaching people what our government is about and how we can make it better. He's showing the mechanism of how our systems work so that as a group, we can make better choices. This is transparency. This is taking complicated things and making them a little bit simpler and hopefully making them as fun as possible, which frankly is my job for the past 15 years. So the unique experience that I can bring to this job is that I've been a fireman for nearly a decade in leadership as a fireman. I know how to keep us safer. I know how to create relationships with emergency responders so that our communities feel better, they feel tighter, and they feel more secure. But also as a business owner, I understand that government can get out of control, that the waste can be rampant, And the result is our taxes going up. And I think something, again, that we can all agree on is that we don't want our taxes to go up. And that's my promise to you. If that sounds good, then please vote for Chet.
Thank you. And Rick.
Thank you. I've been a pastor for 22 years. If you wrap up the service, you get to take the offering. Is that how this works tonight too? My name is Rick Russell, and I'm here to solve problems. I'm not interested in partisan fights. I'm interested in getting things done for our community. The commission deals with big issues. We heard some of them tonight: water, wildfire, mental health, public health, housing. These are critical to our community, but these problems are so big they cannot be solved by one person, by one commissioner, and most of these problems cannot be solved even by the whole of county government. They all take collaboration with multiple partners at the table, and that's the work that I've always done, bringing people together. I've built those collaborations with partners in law enforcement and housing experts in the business community and environmental groups and faith communities. And when you vote for me, you get Rick Russell, but you also get with me every friendship, partnership, relationship, collaboration I've ever built to work on behalf of this community. I think that relationship building work is not done, it only expands. Together, we've got to work together and build those relationships of trust to continue to make Deschutes County an affordable place. I'm very proud of my endorsements. A state senator, our representative, our congresswoman, mayors of Redmond and Bend, too many city council members and school board members to list, but from all of our communities, from Bend and Redmond and Sisters and Lapine and Sun River. Your vote matters to me the most, though. I'm asking for your vote. Rick Russell, running for position 4. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the League of Women Voters, the attending citizens and voters, as well as those online and every voter in Deschutes County, I want to thank the candidates for participating in tonight's forum. Remember, your vote is your voice. Ballots will be mailed on April 29th. Make sure to get your ballots postmarked by Election Day on May 19th so your voice can be heard. Now, a recording will be available on the League of Women Voters website as well as their YouTube page. And for more information about all these candidates who've been generous with their time this evening, please visit vote411.org. On behalf of the League of Women Voters, I'm Mike Fisher saying thank you for participating in our democracy, and good night.